We're here in Botanic Park, a place with lots of ancient trees, and it's also home to a colony of flying foxes.
So I thought bats lived in caves. Why are we in Botanic Park?
Well, microbats live in caves because they like dark places to sleep, but these are megabats. In fact, these are flying foxes, and flying foxes actually need lots and lots of sunlight and vitamin D every day for their health.
Kathy's a volunteer for Fauna Rescue in SA. She's been helping grey-headed flying foxes for a while. These little critters are usually found in forests on the southeast coast, but as some of the forests have started to disappear, lots of bats have flown to Adelaide in search of food. The problem is they're not used to Adelaide's warmer weather.
And when it gets too hot for bats, what happens to them?
Well, unfortunately, they suffer a condition that's known as hypothermia. This is when the body absorbs more heat than it can let go of, and it can cause all sorts of problems for the bats. And this is when we see them fall out the trees, either dead, or if they are alive, they injure themselves on the fall down.
So if I'm walking through a park and I see an injured bat or a dead bat lying on the ground, should I go over and pick it up?
Absolutely not. Although bats are very cute, they can carry a disease called lyssavirus. It's a type of rabies, so it's something that can be passed on to humans. So people like myself, we're actually vaccinated against that so we can safely work with the bats. So if you do see a live or a dead bat on the ground, don't ever touch it and contact your local wildlife group.
So in this heat wave in particular, about how many bats have died so far?
Just in January, we lost 180 and we lost about another 50 in the heat wave just before Christmas. So we've lost a good 230 of our bats. All of them were babies and only about 2 adults.
That might not sound like a big number, but there were only about 800 bats in the colony before the heat wave. More bats have flown in now, but the species is still threatened across Australia.
Why exactly are bats so important?
Well, megabats or fruit bats are actually a keystone species. They are absolutely vital to the environment. These guys not only plant, but they maintain and germinate forests. Without them, the forests will die.
Lucky for the flying foxes, volunteers like Kathy have been helping save as many of them as they can. Kathy doesn't just pick up the critters that have fallen. She has a special aviary at her house, so she can look after the baby bats until they're healthy again.
When they first came in, they were in pretty bad condition. Some of them had spent the entire 5 days out in that heat wave and just had no energy. They couldn't hang like you see here, and they needed quite intensive care. I had to rehydrate them every half an hour until they could start moving and getting a bit of strength. And some of them, like little Amy, she had broken bones and she needed quite a lot of vet treatment and has needed quite a lot of hands-on care as well.
Kathy's also taught the bats some basic skills, like how to eat, so they can look after themselves when they go back into the wild.
From here, they'll actually be leaving here in a few weeks, and they will be flying to Big Bats Creche in New South Wales, and that's where they're going to learn to live in a colony.
And when they're finally ready, they'll be set free again, ready to do their job for our environment.